Divine-gpms.world is a worldwide cumulative gathering of consents for every child, woman, and man to ratify and enact into law worldwide the all-inclusive replacement system of money and law worldwide, as outlined on the consenting website of divine-gpms.world. It is imperative that all worldwide take a couple of minutes and consent to add your accord, children included.
Greetings to everyone. We are on divine-gpms.org, the open worldwide meeting. And today it is, I would say, the feminine day. It is March 8th, 2026. And Rick also posted a very and powerful and good message to all the feminine in the world. Thank you so much. Yes, the femininity is very important because of the mother love and unconditional love. But we never exclude the masculine. So the masculine are invited even on March 8th. It is not a day only for the feminine. So we unite, we are equal. And the most important is to ascend and to understand GPMS message and start finally to have a correct life, peace, love, and abundance. So we create abundance. So Rick, you know that all the time I start with the question about the ascension. At the same time, I would say after the ascension, I will try to speak about the right of the sustenance, because it seems that the people, I do not know if they are on the fourth dimension, or many start to come on the fifth dimension, what is called the fifth dimension. But it seems that the people do not see really that they have a right of sustenance. So first of all, my question is, as usual, where we are with the ascension today on March 2026. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, sister. And where we are at with the ascension, the first thing I need to say for all of you and all watching this, that keep your trust in God and your connection with God, no matter what occurs. And it is important, as Sister Lodi has said many times, to keep your utmost patience with what is going on. It needs to be understood that this is a worldwide divine operation that takes out the beast system, the enslavement system completely, that has been on earth for many thousands of years. So this is a very intense ascension. It is a very intense divine project as well. There is many factors that we are contending with, and one of the main factors was the violation of universal laws beyond this reality in respect to psychologically conditioning the consciousness of humanity. So this was done intentionally, and this is one of the things with the ascension that ones will ask, why is it taking so long? And all of these things. Well, part of that is because of the psychological conditioning and the imprint from the beast system was so great upon humanity's consciousness. And so having said this, there is many things that humanity has to see that is not right, but they need to see it exactly as they're beginning to see with this war now, if you will. So having said this, with the divine plan, the overall outcome and ascension is we advance humanity into the fifth dimensional state of civilized being. They're currently in savage primitive state, but they're enslaved and controlled. But the thing is, when they are controlled like that, they do not even know that they're enslaved and that they're controlled. So, what we are doing with this ascension is taking as many forward in their physical vessels as we can for the new earth. Many will not make it. And this is written also it's been seeded in all of your scripture through antiquity, your scriptures, your ancient texts, your prophecies. So if anyone at this time looks at it, they can see that everything that was mentioned and prophesied back then is occurring now. So for any objective one, there should not be any questioning that we are indeed in the judgment times. And the judgment times has to occur for the ascension because the darkness cannot go forward and they do not have a place in the new reality. So, to do this as well, the people have to see that there is an actual evil on earth so that they choose the God in the new world. So, everyone is being forced divinely to see the reality of things. And the reality is that evil beast monster that is out there. So, once they see that, then their morality becomes activated and they say that this is wrong, what is occurring. Then, once they had that realization, then they began to be open for the divine ascension, the divine plan in the new earth that we already have created for them. So we are in both a spiritual and a physical vessel battle to carry this out. So what you're seeing is that the actual evil is in physical humanoid vessels as well. And this is also why we are here, divine angelics, in humanoid vessels as well, because this battle is in both places. It's in this physical world and it's in the etheric energetic realm, the spiritual realm. So, in this great time, this is what you have going on. Now, the divine plan and the divine strategy is absolute brilliant and always one step ahead of the darkness, the resistance, what is left of the darkness. But at this time, the darkness, the beast, is very afraid. It has never been this afraid before. This is why you're seeing things with these wars. You're seeing the actual beast system with Trump, mainly, and Netanyahu. What they're doing is they're revealing even more. And what they're revealing, which they cannot cover up, is when you look at the amount of children and women that are being killed in Palestine and Iran. Once you begin to look at the actual numbers, you can see that the war is actually targeting the feminine and the feminine children to in attempts to annihilate races. So once you look at that, you can see that racism, which we spoke about before the meeting, is involved in here. This is a very serious thing that is going on when you take out all of the feminine in any race, you end it because the feminine are the creators. And these are the things that they're attempting to do, the darkness. They're attempting to eradicate other races, Palestinian, Iran, other races. They've been notorious throughout antiquity. The US is always the beast system. It's the last stand of the beast system. That's why you see it desperately going into Venezuela, going into Greenland, all of these power grabs because it's based on greed and the capitalistic system, but it's also based on controlling humanity. So, where It is very desperate. It is imploding. That's what you're witnessing now, which is really beautiful, but not the deaths are not beautiful. But what you're witnessing is that it's crumbling very quickly because there is no redemption from these acts of killing, murdering innocent children and women. So there is no escape from that. And the political systems worldwide is what allowed this to occur. So this is the good news that these political systems are collapsing. They can no longer be there. And this is when divine GPMS with the administrative hubs are already prepared, if you will, to go in very quickly and establish the GPMS world that liberates all of humanity. So everything is being set up, but there is that battle from the darkness that is resisting this. So just, I believe last week or early this week, the divine order went out worldwide for all governments to stand down their military, to begin to take steps towards recycling any weapons of war, and also to begin to give GPMS to their people. At this point, to my knowledge, none of these governments have given it to their people or obeyed it. But this is a very good sign because this order was put out publicly worldwide. So where they ignore it now, where they had the absolute solution to end war instantly, but where none of the nations have answered this divine solution in order, it also incriminates all governments worldwide because they've been informed. So if they do not take the steps and the actions towards giving GPMS to all of their people with nationwide ratification processes, it incriminates all of these leaders as well because they're morally obligated to protect the public's interest. So where they're not doing that, it incriminates them. So this is part of the ascension process at identifying who is genuine for the public interest or who is actually part of the beast system. So it becomes a no-brainer for people to see. And that's why this is put out worldwide as well, because we are separating the wheat from the chaff, the goats from the sheep, the good, genuine souls from the actual darkness that were enslaving humanity with their artificial laws and their artificial monetary system by keeping it from humanity. So the overall ascension is that the last things I got, and believe me, and everyone is tired. However, we must have that inner knowing, that perseverance to stay with it and keep expanding it. It is for us, it is for all of the women and children, and of course, men worldwide that can make it. But they have to also make the choices to come into alignment with the new world. And what you have is in the past is the resistance trying to block this from them as well. Nevertheless, the light always perseveres and we do get through. It's just this thing with linear timing. How long does it take? So I was given, I'll just reiterate in our meeting last week, I was given, be prepared for 5 months of watching the darkness implode while we stay above it like we are here observing it, but we need to be here as ones are able to make their choices to get out of the control of the chaos in the darkness. Then we keep, as we're doing, we're populating divine GPMS is the ark. It is the ark of the covenant. It is the Noah's ark. It is the providence. It is what is sent by God. So all that are able to enter the ark and retain their purity and their honesty, they can stay. But what occurs occasionally, there are some that comes in and they get ejected out. And this is a normal part of the process, because what you also see is dark ones will try to piggyback the ascension, but it's inevitable that they cannot, because everything is aligned with your intent, your actions, and your deeds. When I first come to earth, I began to teach, to show the way for purity, to prepare humanity. I taught teachers as well to go out to proliferate what I teach. That's why everything I teach is free, because it's not about I making money. I don't need it. I'm provided for by Father. So, but the importance is not to have any restrictions on getting the teachings out, because these are important purification teachings, but it's also knowledge and instructions for ones to empower their full divine dignity, to be the beacons of light here and to take up the positions as we're doing, as all of you here, as the leaders for the new world. You only need to be the example of what is good and righteous. And this is in alignment with God. And what we're doing with divine GPMS, as we say, it's the full, peaceful, abundant, joyous, thriving world for humanity that takes them out of this present monotonous, robotic enslavement system. So everything is, yes, it's divinely ascertained. But as I said, the thing is that there's some variables in here. And every time that the darkness makes a resistance, it does cause a variable. It will cause, and this is why they do it with a war, because that puts worldwide stress and fear. The more they can put people in fear, the more the darkness can control humanity to keep them in fear. See, fear lowers the veil of forgetfulness. And what this is, ones begin to forget the moral things to do, what is right or wrong. They become blinded, and then they are in alignment with supporting the killing of innocent women and children and glorifying it, as you can see as the example in the US, which is so psychopathic and sadistic. But you have seen this with support Trump and make America great again. All of these arrogant, obnoxious statements is the opposite of unity and all of the divine proportions, because it's designed like that to control humanity and keep them in the fear state, to constantly create and support wars and conflict, because that is the beast world. It is the beast system. But again, the good news is this great awakening worldwide is not happening by chance. It's not random, but what it shows you is that the beast system actually has no power. Because if they had the power, all would not be awakening. But what was beginning, as ones began to awaken, the Illuminati, the darkness, if you will, would come in when ones began to awaken and know that they were able to at least manifest, and to know that reality was not the way that it seemed. When they began their journey, then the darkness would come in with like these Nasara Jasara groups, things offering false promises to the people, what have you, to keep the people, the souls that were awakening, distracted, and to keep them limited from seeing the higher truth. So the darkness come in with its lies and deceit, and let's say for 25 years, I believe, kept telling people, we've got this good plan, everything's a movie out there. They'll say people aren't dying, wars aren't happening, and they'll brainwash the souls into believing this. And with this deceit, with this lies, one of the things they keep telling ones over and over, oh, their Nasara is happening tomorrow, the next day. But what occurs is with ones, usually a normal human, they're only fooled once. Then they no longer are fooled twice. And there's a saying with that. But what you see with the Nasara thing and the mega Trump thing and all of this is that repeatedly they are given this lies, it's happening tomorrow, and repeatedly they believe it because they were psychologically controlled with psychological operations and warfares that keeps their consciousness from even recognizing that they've been tricked thousands, tens of thousands, or even a million times. But they keep there and keep believing. This is because it's brainwashing, it's conditioning. And when they get on these chat groups and patriot groups and Jasara groups, the energetics that's coming out of it mesmerizes the ones, and it's part of that programming as well, that they become brainwashed and they just keep giving their power away to keep this false illusion going. So these are all tactics of the darkness, if you will. But the great news, it's all breaking down. It cannot go forward as more even break out of those deceits and false narratives and illusions. They're coming to see that no, it's a psychological program by the beast itself to maintain control over humanity. I've dissected their narratives before and showed people how ridiculous and foolish it is. But I've even seen people not even able, they're conditioned that much that they could not even see the simple things that I pointed out to show them that it's deceit and that it's a trick. But that's how deep the programming and conditioning went. So I've been rambling on quite a bit. So with the ascension, just quickly, perhaps a meteorite or two hitting the water March 10th to March 13th, March 10th to or March 10th to April 14th. March 10th to April 13th is 3 important days. Not fully sure on what I was given. I think it pertains to a dissension, an area of darkness that must occur on the lower timeline. So it could get very dense. So what we say to ones, keep your vibration about you, keep up above, know you're aligned with divinity, and that certain things must play out, but things that must not play out are being handled from a higher divine order as well. So everything is in flux with in that respect, with the ascension. Uh, Also, it's the fall of Babylon as well, I've been given. And Babylon represents all of the negative emotions and actions and deeds. So, uh, Babylon and the great prostitute of Babylon as well. So that's when you also, not only is it the entire capitalistic system and all of its attributes, importantly, it is also the lust that is involved within the prostitute energetics and with the individual. And this is why because you need to purify your own field and with your partner. These are sacred unions. These are things that no longer, when you come together with your rightful partner, there is no thinking or attraction to another. So, what Christ says, when you're together with your partner, you are to keep your energetic purity in your thoughts. You should not even think about another because that is an energetic thought. And Jesus made this clear as well with adultery. What you're doing, if you're in a relationship with one, it's supposed to be sacred just between the two. And if you even have any thoughts outside of that, you contaminate that energetic sacredcy, that purity as well. So these are things and more that I teach about ones. So it's very important, your energetic field, because this is how you ascend as well. If you're still having lustful thoughts or something for another, what that does, it disempowers you and your Merkaba in your energetic field. And it can, if it's so severe in some, they're unable to maintain the Kundalini activation, which is the first level of the Merkaba, and they will shut down and they will lose it as well. And in the past, with these ancient teachings in respect to the light body and the purification, it's why it was greatly disciplined that the Kundalini should only be activated, not intentionally, usually. It will be activated on its own. Because if it's prematurely activated by, let's say, some Hindu teachers or what have you, if the individual has not had enough clearing in their intention, enough purity, what it can cause if they have not gotten rid of extreme lust, we'll use for an example, then the Kundalini will have an adverse effect on their energy, on their consciousness, and in the past, ones would even go crazy because you need to look at the intensity, any of you, with the intensity of the root energy. That is your strongest test. And believe me, it can become very intense, but you have to have the discipline and in most cases retain fully the celibacy with it. It's so important to do this. However, if you have a partner, and this is where your twin flame partners, your real one comes in, you're to interact with them and trust on that. But again, it has to be the sacred relationship. You cannot any others that enters, or if even the thoughts, it begins to affect it and break it apart because it becomes no longer sacred. See, procreation here with humanity is between one masculine and one feminine. This is sacred design and how creation works, but it also works the same way in the higher realms. The combining of pure sacred energy coming together is also one of the exits out of the matrix or out of this reality and to ascend with. So it's a very huge responsibility and discipline that comes with this. And it's also why I am equipped with all of this knowledge because I'm a divine teacher to prepare those ones. But what I can say is that sometimes ones with their Kundalini or their Merkaba activated, they cannot even make it as well because of their choices and because they have not purified. Very rarely, but it does occur. And then you have what you can call as a fallen one occurs because they could not pass the test, if you will, and they were not disciplined enough to do it. So then they will go into a fallen state and all of their divine abilities taken from them because they cannot affect this overall ascending timeline. So they are powered completely down, but they do it themselves. They disempower themselves because of their choices. So the teachings I put out is so important. If these teachings and instructions were not important, you would not even need them. They would not exist in this reality. That's why they're so important to follow these teachings, because this is the preparation for ones that play important divine roles in establishing the heaven on earth. And this is very serious. So the teachings are important, or they would not even be there. I'll stop there. I rambled on quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick, that you shared this information. I would say also the 67 letter that it is available at this time. I wanted also to share that. You already spoke about that. Divine order, it is in place on earth. And also, I would address to everyone that hear this video or share, and also for others to be seen. Humanity never hear or seen this kind of the conversation during the so-called freedom movement, as we spoke also before. So divine-gpms.world, it is kept by Rick Jewers. He is High Priest of Melchizedek Order. And there are also a couple of websites, as Rick mentioned before, where he shared teachings and everything. So these are very, very important too. Regarding the letter, I wanted to speak about a certain right, but will be later. I will share the letter because you mentioned that, and it is extremely important. For everyone that can see our video, can see also divine-gpms.org. It's all about universal nation, and it is a divine worldwide order and notice in place number 67 that appear on March 3rd, 2026. And effective time, this divine worldwide order and notice is in full force and effect not only on March 3rd, 2026, but remains in effect permanently for Earth and all people. So for our people to know, we have a Divine Charter of Universal Nation, GPMS, available on the website, can be seen on the website. We affirm our lawful jurisdiction and standing over all matters relating to human dignity, the protection of the children, and the use of Earth's resources in alignment with God's law and natural law. And it is beautiful also describe the divine-gpms.org, its Father God's plan and will of for Earth, and it is inevitable. So, yes, Rick.
May I just add something in there? GPMS is the most powerful universal nation ever known to man. It is the most binding and powerful. And what we had before, we show that it's even more powerful, more bigger and lawful than the UN. And and one of the reasons it is the most powerful nation on earth because it's individually, willfully ratified through the consents. This is the most lawful nation ever known on earth, and it does have this lawful voice. And when anyone does not adhere or comply with this lawful voice, they are actually putting themselves into a legal and lawful divine jeopardy. And this is what I was explaining about where this has been sent to all of the worldwide nations, that they have no choice but to comply if they have the choice of not to comply, but it identifies them as darkness. So there is no reprieve nor redemption from them as well. So this is, again, everyone needs to understand this. What GPMS has done has never been done before. It's bringing the people together with full concrete law, a full concrete new equal monetary system, and upholding all of the unalienable rights because they can be upheld because of the dynamics of the full system. So again, ideally, as we're saying, we had anticipated that it would already been done, but there is that reluctance by humanity, even knowing how much they were enslaved by the darkness. So we're still going through that process with it. But again, we don't need to go entirely through that process. The important thing is that worldwide, there are, right at this time, the majority are ready for this. And there are more groups and individuals out there that are ready for this. But again, with groups and their leaders, everything was infiltrated and steered away. This is the tactic of the darkness, where they would buy leaders, if you will, to keep people led astray from their true sovereignty, their full emancipation in abundance and liberty, which is their freedom. And as we said again, within 24 hours, if we had the majority agreement, every man, woman, and even child would be receiving the initial equivalent approximate 30,000 US dollars to put them in the immediate place of comfort to never worry in that very moment about anything ever again. This is the utmost joy and freedom that humanity deserves, the human souls, but it is the beast system and the political rulers that is keeping this yet from the people, as we've just seen. However, this is a serious divine order that has been put out, and with any military not complying with this order, it also allows for universal divine intervention directly. So it is a very serious order. Whether anyone believes on earth who I am and what I say, it is regardless because it is truth and it is divine, and I am who I say that I am. But I don't need to be glorified. As I said, it's all of us that comes together. There's many that are selected for this, brothers and sisters, to establish this new world in, including all of the children. That's why the children were so important. That's why the um, darkness targeted all of these children in every way that they can. But now they've become so desperate that they began to outright murder them in Palestine and Iran. And if it continues, if the people does not stop it, there'll be more innocent women and children annihilated, murdered. And as we said, when we looked at some of the figures in this Iran Israel US war, 95% of the casualties are civilians, with the biggest percent of that being women and children. This tells you it is not a military war. What it is an attempted annihilation of races and to eliminate the women and children in the reproductive capacity. And also, when you look at in 2020, the medicine regime that was brought in as a result of this worldwide, they are experiencing depopulation, the first time since the Black plague in 1350 or 53, which caused many deaths. Right now, as a result of what transpired and what was distributed beginning in 2020, which was fully inspired by Operation Warp Speed by the Trump administration, what has transpired is fertility rates in masculine have fallen. The feminine, anyone that took this prescription, for the most part, what has occurred within the feminine, the inability to conceive, but also to develop cancers in the reproductive organs, but not only in the feminine, also in the masculine with prostate cancers and similar things that are directly affecting the ability to reproduce worldwide. And not only that, you have the rising mortality rates. And in between the rising mortality rates of mostly, let's say, not even the elderly, but let's say in 40, 50 years old. But not only were you seeing the mortality rates increase there, you were also seeing it increase in the youth and the younger generations. And you can see this worldwide with athletes that just dropped on the field. You have athletes that were in their full prime just dying instantly. So this is how, these are indicators of how severe this was. But also in the US, in the military, there were factions that also began to discover this. But what occurred is that they come under attack by the beast system to keep things quiet as well. So there is much that is coming out here in everything, in relation to everything. So with the women and children, yes, directly targeted. This is very psychotic, psychopathic. It's very sick. It's sadistic, but it's very telling. You can see what the intent is. One of the first missiles to hit Iran was a girls' school, primary to elementary, 7 to 12-year-old girls with, I believe, the last count, 168 of them killed with this one missile. That is not a military target. It is very sick. They're still going through the rumble because, to my knowledge, I believe it's around 200 or more that were in that school. The school was struck during school hours. With military intelligence, you know when children are in school. So there is no excuse for this. But you see deeper what it actually is. So Iran is not being liberated, it's being annihilated. So when you see a lot of propaganda that said there were celebrations in the street in Iran. Well, all of these cities where you had protesters, they have all been hit and bombed. So is this a liberation? No, it becomes very clear it's an annihilation, and that the propaganda was put up to trick people into thinking that the people are being freed. No, look in the US with what is occurring inside the US, the great terror with the ICE and other things, what they're doing, the high inflation, people losing everything. These are all intentional, deliberate tactics of the darkness to control people. You see in some groups, which is so repulsive to and I'm saying this, where they say military is the only way. No, military is the dark way. and ones need to wake up to this. The divine way is Divine-gpms.world, which has absolute peace, no war, and definitely no murdering of innocent women and children. How sick is anyone to do that? Now, in the US, it's provisioned in their Declaration of Independence, and this is important. What it states in there, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish any government that is affecting the rights of the people. And so it's already provisioned in the people in America already have provisioned within their laws the ability to institute a new governance. It doesn't mean that it needs to be a new government, an old political structure. What it means, it's provision that the people can govern themselves and bring in divine GPMS and set up the administrative committees. So it's already provisioned in there. Nothing needs to be changed. And with this Divine-gpms.world, lawfully can do this instantly. Nothing needs to be set up. So it's not a fantasy, Divine-gpms.world. It is the lawful instrument for all of the people of America, but they have to choose it. They have to ratify Divine-gpms.world to enact it into law. So all of the people, I believe it's higher than this, but I believe one of the last figures was 71% of Americans did not approve this war, what is ongoing. But I believe those numbers are higher. So if you could look at the right leaders, the right genuine divine leaders with divine GPMS, giving this now to the people of America, this war is all over very quickly. But again, we go back to the problem of what the people were following their leaders at trying to do other things. It's the same like in Canada. What you have is the infiltration by the darkness to keep them fighting for nonsensical things, which keeps the problems all alive forever and ever. That's how the political arenas are set up, always with false hope and control over humanity, making things harder and harder. When you look at Canada, what was the baby boomer generation given? Work hard, and by the time you're 45, all of you will be retiring with great money. Those years has gone by, and what has occurred? The greatest inflation ever known, the greatest suffering, the greatest harm to humanity. But these were from the government, the dark tactics that they used to keep everyone enslaved and working for them while they lived lives of luxury. All of the politicians, if you will, in Canada and also the US and perhaps worldwide, have expense accounts, and some of them perhaps unlimited because they don't record the right figures. So you have these ones not paying taxes, getting luxury places to live in at the expense of all of the other population. And this is what they had called the dark elitists. All of these politicians are bought. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're supporting today. They have to make the choices, any genuine ones, and they have to step up. So, as I said, GPMS is not a utopia that is far away. It's not a fantasy. It's not a theory. It is not a concept. It is the actual concept that is happening. It's inevitable. and the people had the ability to choose it sooner than later. When they choose it today, we end this war quicker that's killing innocent women and children. It has to be stopped, but it has to be stopped by the people. This is the thing. We have put out the divine order. To my knowledge, no one has adhered to it, any government yet. So then, in any times of tyranny, the onus is always upon the people themselves. Now, when you look at the American people, if this war continues, all of the other countries worldwide that are in their heart, that are moral, they're saying, what type of people are these in the US? Allowing this to continue instead of removing that government. So, what this occurs in the future, every US citizen, if they are to go somewhere else and we don't get rid of this B system, not only are they endangered when they travel, they're also endangered within their own country because their children are also being targeted and taken. And this is where you get into the huge worldwide trafficking with all of the governments, at least to some degree, involved in it. When you look at the real books, the governments were funding these institutions with family courts and child services to take children. It got to the point where it was so ridiculous and so blatant and obvious to see that they were taking children that they would say, with their opinion, was a pound underweight. These are ridiculous things, but this is how blatant it become because they wanted the children and they wanted the money, and ones were bought by the money. They have a quota system, the child protection services, that they have to get so many children to keep their institution alive with money. So then these ones, they become narrow-sighted, they become biased and focused on targeting the children. So then all children in every nation becomes, that was like this with democracy, becomes prey. They're actually being preyed upon by the system and being exploited. So this endangers every child worldwide and also more so in America with over 400,000 children. But these numbers are understated and unreported. It's over a million at least go missing every year. And most of these, to my knowledge, at the hands of child services. When we look in Austria with over 20,000 refugee children coming in Austria, applying for asylum, and sitting there waiting in a place of security. Then what we would see is NGOs. We would see the Jesuit Society, which is not what it says it is. And we would see child services in Austria being three of the last institutions to see these children. So 20,000 children just vanish in Austria while these children are waiting to get asylum and benefits so that they can survive. So it becomes very clear that this does not make sense at all why all of these children would disappear in Austria, but not only Austria, Italy, and most countries in Europe as well. The same sort of a thing was occurring. Now, this is occurring under the direct watch of governments. So it begins to clearly incriminate and show what was going on that's deeper and sicker and more sinister. So there is no evading what they have done and what they are participants in. And this is why I openly said years ago, and I will say today, any social worker, anyone in child services, exit your job. Give it up now. Do not participate in this huge wrong that is preying on innocent children and innocent families, mostly the moms. This is very sick. And if you're in that line of work, if you have a soul and you have a heart, step down immediately. And this same message goes out for any that's in military worldwide. Leave immediately, step down, do not participate in this huge crime because you become an accomplice to murdering women and children that are totally innocent. A little 7-year-old child in Iran, a little girl, has not caused any threat to America. That is nonsense for anyone to even think it, let alone a school of perhaps 200 innocent little 7 to 12-year-old children. So it has to stop.
I would like to show to the people again the warp speed operation. Just for everyone to have an idea. It can be also found on Wikipedia. How long time will still be there because the Wikipedia also maybe clean up anytime, but this will remain here on this video. So I think at this time, everyone can see it's coming on Wikipedia. It is about the Operation Warp Speed, where we have Commander Donald Trump. So this operation, it's a public-private partnership initiated by the United States government to facilitate and accelerate the development, manufacturing, and distribution of everything that Rick described as the population of the human race. So basically coming after that with that of the body, infertility and everything. So this is exactly how Rick described also. It is attack to the feminine and the masculine, attack to the child. So it is about 10 billion. This was only the initial found. And just I scroll down because we are not here to read everything. But to remain on this way, we remain on our video. Then the people can stop the video there and can read. Okay. So even there are some small initiative right now in 2026 and also started a little bit in 2025 to present the correct situation and try to stop that to happen again and again. No, it was coming from here and basically let it on this way for years. So the humanity, it is really affected by. I will show also a small video about the GPMS versus the United Nations. With GPMS at this time.
GPMS versus the United Nations, the true voice of the people. Across the world today, the universal nation of Divine-gpms world already carries a direct, voluntary, and sovereign voice of nearly 400,000 children, women, and men. This is not political representation. This is not a delegation of power to governments. This is the people themselves choosing, signing, and standing in their inherent authority. In contrast, the so-called voice of the United Nations is not based on the people at all. Its decisions come from 15 members of the Security Council, 47 members of the Human Rights Council, and 193 political state representatives, none of whom are chosen by the world's population and many of whom represent governments engaged in corruption, abuse, or authoritarian control. When measured honestly, the GPMS voice is already larger, more legitimate, and more human than the UN has ever been. GPMS speaks through real individuals, not diplomats, not political elites, not unelected officials. Every GPMS signature is a sovereign consent, a living mandate that carries far greater moral and lawful weight than the procedural votes of government-appointed delegations. This is why GPMS is not merely a movement. It is the emerging universal jurisdiction of the people, grounded in natural law, human dignity, and the unalienable rights of all children, women, and men. As the world awakens, the contrast becomes unmistakable. The UN speaks about the people. GPMS speaks as the people. And the people, united through free will, now carry a voice stronger than any institution born of politics. This is the rise of true global sovereignty, and it has already begun. Visit, consent, vote with, and join today at Divine-gpms.world. GPMS.
Okay, so this is GPMS today, and I do not know why the people still cannot see. I also open a group about discrimination, racism, hate crime, and just to tell to the people these are low frequencies. So this is the way how we were divided. I mentioned also on the photo how the darkness work to divide us. It is about divide. So believe on two principles. Darkness principle, divide and conquer, and also control the head, then you control the body. So first of all, to divide us and conquer, it is about creating borders, creating so-called ideas that we are divided by race, by skin color, by language we are speaking. So, and also control the head, then you control the body. Do not see the true definition of the self-determination, because self-determination, it is about to become as one. It is about to recognize we are equal. And the darkness kept all the time the pyramid system with artificial laws, and they need to control the head, so control the leaders. Then when they control the leaders and everything, this is also including the politics, that it is, as Rick described, darkness game. Then they control all of us. They control the 99%. What GPMS is doing, it's reversing this pyramid scheme and allow us to see the true self-determination. We are equal, the true law, we are one, universal laws do no harm, the true sovereignty definition. Then this is the way to create peace, abundance, and everything that we need. And also it is based also on I started to show to the people, so everything seems to be done, but nobody collected in the way to show the people that, for example, I will give only one example because this is only one example. BlackRock company that has $12 trillion as assets. Nobody is asking why they have assets, but we are living in so beautiful and rich planet, but the people become poor, and they are so many poor. And right now we can see that many of us become poor, so every day that pass. So the people needs to think a little bit all the time to the top of the head, because one of the darkness principle, it was to control the head, then you control the body. So there it is about the control. It is about how the money are created, how the money are used for few and not for all of us, and how these assets are kept in the hand of the few and not let to other people. Just one example for Canada and also the United States. It was invoked that the people have no enough houses or the prices are going up all the time because of the immigration. In reality, BlackRock, it is involved in the real estate with $1 trillion and is keeping housing, buy housing and just keep them to be flipped later when the price is going higher, and there is a mechanism behind how the prices were going higher. Then what is happening, this has nothing to do with immigration. There are no borders, nobody is immigrant on this world, but it is a game kept by BlackRock and others like BlackRock, for example, Wall Street and others like them, then does not allow to the people to have housing, money, and everything needed. And this is how Rick said also, under the eyes of the government, where the right of the sustenance, it's never invoked by the people on the street, but the people start to fight each other even during the freedom movement because there are immigrants and the immigrants are the problem. So they are keeping us to fight each other, but they do not allow us basically to have time, reflection, to see what is happening and to see their principle, divide and conquer. So they divide us and they led to all the time to the pyramid system. And the pyramid system with artificial law, it's keeping them in this situation to have trillions of dollars and to play with money and everything. Then the people become poor, and a lot of the population is happening in these divine times. Yes, Rick.
It needs to be understood, and I'm keeping this lawfully and simply, that BlackRock does not own all of these. BlackRock did an IPO, which is an initial public offering. And when they do that, they get investment from public. Now, not only do they get investment directly from the public, they also get investment from, let's say, pension funds and sovereignty funds and what have you, that has the public's money in it. So lawfully and technically, what this does is that no, the people actually owns this. When you trace it back to source, BlackRock does not fully own it. And this is again where GPMS comes in with the right of self-determination, but also the law for the people. Any public infrastructure, like even the BlackRock company, this belongs to all of the people, which are shareholders. When they give you the birth certificate, that is your shareholder status, and everything that the nation has publicly, which includes all companies that started up with IPOs. If they were not private companies, if they were IPOs when they started up, it means the people actually owns them, the investments. So these is included in public architecture or infrastructure. Also, importantly, ones need to realize that all law in this world is based in monetary policy is based on contract law. The most binding contract in this world is the contract that one can make with themselves. And this is where you can put every individual, you can put a lien on yourself. Between you and yourself, you create a contract, if you will, for $1 trillion, is what I say. And what this does, it's a binding contract between you. You are the one that has the choice if anyone else can come into this contract. You are the full power of it. And unless you say and give your consent for another party to come in, no one can break this binding contract. I won't go more into the lawful details, but I need to say with everyone that consents with GPMS, you are making the most powerful binding contract in alignment with law and what is morally right to do. So this contract cannot be interfered with. If it is in a huge violation in the moment, and justice is dealt with later on another divine level at any attempts that go to do this. The right of self-determination, again, is also with GPMS, what comes with your right of self-determination is where you appropriate value, where you think value exists. So before you come into GPMS, you think that gold or uh, other things outside is what has value. But when you come into GPMS, no, all of these things no longer have value because you activate your unlimited value and ability to create a gazillion dollars if you want. This power of self-determination with everyone else is what unleashes the full abundance of money. It eradicates starvation, poverty, all problems worldwide. And that's why it's important for ones to know the power of your self-determination. Your self-determination already exists in worldwide law. Without it, no one would be able to vote for a representative government because you need this right of choice. And within this right of choice of self-determination, you have the right to decide if a government will rule you or if you will rule yourself. So once the majority in any nation decides that they want to be part of the New World Divine GPMS, nothing can stop it because you're using your accepted world, it's already accepted worldwide, the right of self-determination. Law would not exist without it. So it is the foundation of the individual law. But once you realize this, this is what unlocks and secures all of your unalienable rights and all of your abundance and all of your ability to create only abundance, not lack. See, the current beast system is designed to create the illusion that you can't create money, that it's and to create lack. But this is the illusion by any government leader telling you that you can't. This government leader is lying. This is deceit. Then it becomes illegal and unlawful. And this is the current status worldwide with every government that is not providing subsistence, which is guaranteed in the constitutions, that the government, because the government is elected by the people to provide, the government has to provide a comfortable income, not these pensions that keeps ones in poverty and all of this. This is your subsistence that was there in constitutional rights. But what occurs is the government takes those rights away with their laws and turns them into privileges, and just like a dog will throw you a bone. So if you began in the past to speak up, they would financially burden you so your voice wouldn't get anywhere, because it's about control by that beast system. It's not about being competent and doing the right thing. It's intentionally to disempower you and control you. And these are tactics by the old beast system: financially burden, lengthy court things to dissuade you, and to further financially burden you, even to attack you with smear campaigns, making you look like you're crazy so that they can control you. These are tactics of the darkness. And this is the old way. But the great news is we've got that all conquered. Divine GPMS conquers it and eradicates it forever. So the people have the choice. Choose yourself in your full abundance, your full joy, your full power, or keep giving your power away to warmongers and ones that are making you suffer and making it harder and harder for you to survive, which is complete nonsense. One doesn't even have to be awake to see what they must do. Take 3 minutes and consent with GPMS to get your vote added in there. Everyone knows a majority rules. Once we have the majority individual consents with GPMS, nothing can oppose it nor contest it. All of your suffering is over. No more of it worldwide. It's that simple. That's why we say within 24 hours, we can do this. Deliver money, disperse unlimited money to everyone to put everyone in the immediate place of comfort. And not only that, we have the worldwide logistics to keep it running. We have the model. We have everything. We would not be doing this if we did not have the full, complete logistics of how to make this work. This is important. This is not just some fantasy. This is the replacement system for the world. And it's done simply. And we have all of the logistics, everything figured out. That's why we say we're still just in phase one. The one thing that is missing is for the majority of the people to want it, to want the full freedom, the full abundance, the full peace, the full joy. So it's the people themselves that are holding this back, because lawfully, even in this beast system, lawfully, you have the full lawful right and ability to consent with GPMS today. It's already provisioned. And as I said with the American people, it's already provisioned in their Declaration of Independence that they have the ability to come together and to just take out politics fully in the US. And this is what it is. Anywhere worldwide, the people has this ability to do it. See, when you have governments that are causing harm, that is illegal, and it's also unlawful to do so. So these governments do not have any bona fide lawful standing whatsoever. The most lawful standing worldwide is Divine-gpms.world, because it does everything for the public as a leadership should do. It gives everyone equality, equal money, equal access to resources, their full freedom. So, again, with the website, I just had one thing written down. So we are, with our website, the landing page where everyone consents in our website, right? It constantly involves one thing we have done We have put in there also instructions for ones on how to read GPMS. Because of the lower consciousness and the cognitive dissonance, but the imprint that ones have, when they go in to begin to read GPMS, they begin applying all of these fear projections. What if, who enforces things, and all of these things that are not even there is no enforcement in a free, harmonious community working world where everyone has everything. So, but they began with their thoughts, began to enter these ridiculous, irrelevant things. And then when they do that, they cannot see that GPMS is the full solution. So we've included a little thing in there before they begin to read GPMS, get themselves neutral, get that foolishness of the capitalistic fear-based reality system out of the way and look with your heart and your clear consciousness at what this does. So you're able to choose it. Don't complicate it for yourself. And again, because we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't know already that it's absolutely lawful and that it's what is to be done and we know how to do it. We would not be doing this. I would not be here if I was just a human wasting my time. I would not be putting myself out public all over the world if this was not true. There is nothing for I to gain from this. So I make that clear. This is for humanity and it's divine, and that's what it's being done for. Um, so on the website, we also just added and we added true sovereignty definition on the website. That is on there, and that is so important for ones to know what true sovereignty is, because all of your governments and what was accepted worldwide, mostly, they do not know what true sovereignty is, and they also imposed upon humanity other lesser truths about what sovereignty is because they wanted to control ones with like a national sovereignty, which is not true sovereignty. It is not true liberation. So what they did is they distorted the real meaning of sovereignty to fit a enslavement program and keep ones under the illusion as well. So we put that on and we changed some some pictures on there. Sister Ya did, and so because there was one picture we took off because some were having where they still had fear imprints. They would see the picture and they was thinking it was with the Illuminati or the Masons or with the little boy holding his hands up. So we took that picture off and we placed it with a beautiful little girl holding her hands out with the pixie dust or different beautiful things. So it's a because again, we're all people worldwide coming together as one. So we don't wish for it to be any discrimination, but also we cannot accommodate everyone's fears. We do our best to make this all inclusive, non discriminatory for everyone worldwide. Yet you will always find someone will come up with things. And we've seen in the past some, I would say, well educated, uh, at least higher consciousness ones, but they would begin to have trouble with some of the words. And with these ones, when I was having meetings, I would say to them, you know, if you go with the words and the spelling, if you go too far, what you are going to do is realize that you have put a spell on yourself and you'll be unable to talk. In this new time, we ourselves with the light are able to put the definitions on words and change them. Now, with words in society, you'll have words that has their definitions can be contradictory. They'll have two definitions that will contradict each other. And the reason why this occurs is because it just shows you some of the manipulation with words, but very good. It shows that we have the choice to choose the higher version of what a word means. Then you don't get caught in the spell of spelling. Because if you stay in that, you'll be unable to speak. You'll find something wrong with every word, with etymology. And what you'll do is you disempower yourself. So to empower yourself, know that you are the one that is able to decide what a word means, and then you break the spell.
Yes, I will share also the website for the people to see that. Okay, so this is the website. Divine order and notice. Yeah, so it is about that photo that was changed here. And
Yeah, sister, just stop. There's the new picture of the little girl. I'd like feedback here from the audience. What do you think of this one? It's so energized, and I feel like it's so open and so pure.
Yes.
What's the feedback here? What do you think? This is better than the boy that we had like before. What's your opinion on it?
It's absolutely beautiful, and also the image and the color. It's beautiful. I love both photo. I know that somebody started to see a pyramid system there or something like that. GPMS is absolutely
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
why we changed it. Yeah,
Yeah, but basically they were not able to see the hands of a child. So if they
exactly. They couldn't
if
see past it yet.
so basically a pyramid, you can see a pyramid everywhere. It's
But
not.
that was part of the brainwashing as well, and
Yes.
their fear in their consciousness. It blocked them. Yes, but they'll come over it. When they see this picture, there shouldn't be anything that would be negative to them. If it is, then they've got a serious problem themselves, and that's not our problem.
Yes, it's true.
We had the true definition of sovereignty just under there. Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead, sis.
Yes, and I do not know if I will change right now a little bit the page. I hope that we still can see everything. If not, I will stop the sharing, then I will share again. So when we go on divine law, if the people scroll down, we can see the right of the substance. Everybody can see on the screen. It is shared, or I need to stop and share again. Okay, I will stop, then I will share again. Probably it's not shareable if I change the page on the screen. So inside of divine-gpms.world/divine-law, we can see the right of the substance. The right of subsistence is the God-given inherent right of every person to have the basic means necessary to live, food, shelter, water, and the essential then sustain a life itself. This right is not a privilege granted by any system of government, but a natural birthright rooted in divine law. To deny this is to deny the very essence of our humanity and the Creator's design. Honoring this right means recognizing that every soul deserves to live with dignity and that survival is a sacred trust we all share to uphold and protect. So this is the true right of the substance, and I would like to share a little bit what it is written on the government of Canada, because the people are not able to see here where it is the substance. So it is a little bit hidden, but it is still somewhere, but it's not exactly on the same way.
It should be there in the right of life, I believe.
Yes, exactly. So basically on the canada.ca, I will share to the people after, on the legal rights, life, liberty, and personal security. This is on the Canada under the so-called Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I'm saying so-called, it is even not, how can I say, ratify, because they do not ratify with the people, they ratify via provinces, and Quebec province deny the ratification. So it is not ratified under the common law. But anyway, it is supported by Canadian Revenue Agency and also Government of Canada. So this is the right and of sustenance, and right now to see how the government in Canada does not enforce it at all. So we have a lot of homeless, we have a lot of problems. There is no food, the water is not clean, the air is not clean. So basically these are only words on paper, nothing else. And even that we try to enforce, for example, I'm just giving an example. Somebody is to the point where we find somebody that it is homeless. We can gather some money then to bring like a shelter and to put on the skids. Right now, I have on this hour time, I have to ask permission from the government if this shelter can be bring in a land where exists water and everything. Even the government does not care about the homeless by everything that they develop inside of the system, because if they care, we had no homeless, but they do not care. Even that someone try to do something and try to help a homeless, it's still not possible because the government has in place a lot of other law that basically put a lot of stop in any how can I say, good intention to save the people's life. So it's going farther than the right of the sustenance. It's going basically coming against the good intent of fathers that they try to save some people life, because they do not allow even, we have, for example, a portion of the land and we want to allow some to come with a shelter on the skid and everything to live there. It's not possible because the government is coming after that one and it's saying that your land, it's not your property, it is the government property. So GPMS share exactly what it is, the land rights, and basically nobody owns the land, and the government does not own the land and cannot tell us what to do when they do not respect the law. So the law in Canada, in the United States is not respected. I found also the right of the sustenance. This is how they are saying in the United States. It is protected by the common law, but in reality is not never enforced. And if the people try to enforce, it's not possible. So it's not working. So this is how the system today is not working based on the pyramid and everything. So they deny, first of all, the basic access to food and all necessity and poison everything and water. So everything it is infected, and much more than that, even for those that they try to help others, they are not really able to find ways inside of the system to help others because of the system itself. So when I'm speaking that, I have a cold above on the mouth above, so it's like it's to me it is incredible how the system fits the way that basically even that you want to give access because it's free, it costs you nothing, even that you have no money or something like, you cannot do that because of the government. But the government itself does not respect the right to have access to all necessity, and the people cannot see that. So the people are blind. Then they go on the street, and everything that they are doing, basically, they beg the government or go to the protest. So they are moving on circle. And the freedom movement that Rick said, this is not freedom, is true. All the freedom movement is keeping the people moving on circle because they direct the people towards begging the government, the same government that respect nobody and nothing. So to ask permission from there, but they are not coming to work even one day for GPMS to gather consents on the right direction and to speak on the right direction.
Well, all of the artificial laws, the judicial system of Canada and the US, but also within all of the democratic countries worldwide, uh, their judicial system is unlawful and illegal. You know, not only because of this, what you had stated, because you cannot have it. And this is in part of what we put out when we exposed fully the family court system worldwide, where it actually has no jurisdiction. So this is the realization. So people that are protesting against governments are actually protesting against something that is illegal and unlawful. And this is where it becomes nonsensical for the simple reason a chronic liar or a criminal is never going to give you what you want. And that's why it never occurred. So the people just need to shift their focus and come in alignment with GPMS, which is the system that does everything for the people. See, if a system was lawful and in the people's best interest, you never need to fight a bit against it because there is never any conflict. But when you see that people needs to fight against it, it's obvious that the system itself is the problem. So why energize the problem and expect for the system to give you the solution when it's not designed to do that? It's designed to take, 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 take. You know, I use the example with the baby, a child that is born. When a child is born, it actually has no debt. It has done nothing to deserve a debt. And when you look at the US, I love using that as an example. I think the numbers have gone up that when a child is born in the US, it costs about $15,000 with a regular birth for the child to be born. So right at that moment, but also the moment that the child is born, because of the US debt per capita, then another over 100,000 US dollars, if you will, is added to the 115,000. So that child, just by taking his or her first breath, has a debt of over, let's say, $120,000 stamped on its head or her head before they even take their first breath. Now, but this, very importantly, is how the system begins to disempower and control one. So they do it right at birth, and this is done intentionally. And, with the health care, um, in the US, no one needs to pay for health care. It's supposed to be provided with a democratic government, if you will. But the reason why it isn't, it's done intentionally to inflict burden and harm upon ones. And also, with the debt per capita example I used with this poor little child stamping a over $100,000 debt on the child's head before they take their first breath, or as they take their first breath. This is absolutely insane and nonsensical and ludicrous. This child has done nothing to deserve any debt, but this is the imposing of the governments that does this. This is wrong because debt does not exist. Any child that is born in Divine-gpms.world is fully free and has money coming at the child, all credit. Never a need to pay anything back because money is used as a good tool to uplift and support the way that it should be. It's the dark system, the beast system, to control humanity and enslave humanity with it. That is what is wrong. Debt does not exist. It's only an illusion that's perpetrated upon humanity by the governments themselves. The US has proven this notoriously to people. How can they create money out of thin air and create a debt rather than creating equal abundance? It shows you what their intent is. Their intent is to enslave by an illusional debt, which doesn't exist, because you at the same time you can create freedom through the money for everyone with full credit. And that's what GPMS does. It frees everyone from the sadistic enslavement beast system game of capitalism. So, it's just to keep it simple again, but for some, yet, maybe they won't realize the simplicity of it. But it all goes back to the right of self-determination. What do you choose? To be born with a debt, or do you wish to be born with absolute credit and freedom? And once the majority says, no, no more of this foolish debt, we all want to be born free. Even an adult 50 years old can be born free in the moment that they choose the new GPMS world. See, right at this moment, and Father will not allow I or us, but right in this moment, all existing members could have access to unlimited abundance already. But this is not about a few. This is about all of humanity. So it has to be done in the way that we're doing it, at least yet. But as I've shared in other meetings, if Father gave the go ahead, all of you, all of the members of GPMS would be receiving perhaps about $30,000 as the initial amount in your accounts. And any business owners that are in GPMS, they would be receiving unlimited funds to support them in their essential goods and services. Because money is created out of thin air just by snapping your fingers. There doesn't need to be any accounting, because accounting and debt are control measures to disempower and enslave humanity. And it's foolish when you have the choice to have your full abundance and freedom. So everyone choose it now. But having said that, we're getting kind of late here. I believe we want what you normally do, sister, with some updates, perhaps.
Yes, so loading in Philippines.
Yes. Thank you for this opportunity. I would just like to make mention of what I have observed. Today is the International Women's Day celebration, and we are all feminine in the meeting. And also, as I am inputting some names earlier, I was divinely stopped. This is the third time that I have experienced this with Father, stopping me at a certain point in the uh, website. We had the number at 399-112 earlier. So I was stopped for almost an hour. The laptop seemed to be malfunctioning, but divinely, uh, when one name came from Finland, was encoded, then I resumed my encoding. So right now I'm already inputting other names. I still have here around 200 names from Palawan. So, and also yesterday, certain sister from Bicol, the south area of the Philippines, also uh, reached out asking for clarification if it is true that GPMS, or again, somebody is asking for money, or else their names will be deleted from the website. So obviously, some people are using GPMS for their own interest, and as Rick had already clarified, those people who are doing those things with uh those who are believing and supporting GPMS, the wrath of God will be upon them. So we are on the right track. I believe it's so. That's why some of these challenges and the darkness is really trying to stop us in succeeding, or going forward with what you are doing for GPMS. That's all I can share. Thank you so much.
Agnes in Germany.
What I've got today from this evening is that the people should stop supporting the beast system. We have so many information, and all people in governments should step down immediately. So if they still do their jobs, they do so much harm. And everyone who's still didn't read the page should do this, because every day people dying, children dying, and everyone has the responsibility. So nobody can say, I didn't know it, I didn't read it. And so everyone has a part to do. And we are talking about this so long, and it's all written. All is so clear. So yeah, the responsibility of everyone is in their hands. And that's what I can say. So governments, they should step down immediately, and people should start to read the page, do the consent of Divine-gpms.world, and that we can implement this, because it's enough what happened, and there's really enough information. And yeah, so I'm very sad about this, that still so many people don't take the time and don't see the responsibility which every one of them has. Yeah, so that's what I can say from Germany. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you, Beatrice. Lodi.
Yeah, so I share cards. I'm going door to door. I let some cards also on the cars, and this is true. Or I just share on the street when I meet the people. How I am divinely pushed right now. So it's my intuition. It's telling them this is the true self-governance. Especially in Alberta, I know that the people are around to find a self-determination. Some do not understand what it is, a self-determination, but self-governance, everybody understands that. So, and I'm telling them this is the true self-governance that basically you try to find or you are looking for. Or we know, especially at Montoni, it is an area where the poverty is enough high. And the people receive in general, when I'm going door to door, the people receive well the message. So I would say 90% or even more. So this is a good start. And but in general, everywhere in general, self-governance is well received. This is a general. I saw that also in the past in Ontario. I do not know why the concerns do not gather, why the people are not coming, but they are not coming also to the protest, or so simply they are not there. So they were not there. Probably with the website and everything, probably they will come. I met also somebody from the army yesterday, and agree with GPMS. Basically, on all our discussion, agree with GPMS. So the people are there. When we express love and creating abundance, and even that their mind, for example, is going towards the company. Oh, do you know that company, oil company or something? They are saying it is American, but in reality it is Canadian, and I'm stopping them, telling them does not matter. This is the people company. It's not to American, Canadian, or we need to come together just to start to see what everything that happened with us, not necessarily to show with our hand this is just give an example, but for the people to understand, to start to understand what is happening inside of the system, and the way to act, it is inside of Divine-gpms.world website. The people in general agree to create abundance, and the people agree when abundance exists, we should stay united. It's not about discrimination. It's not about nothing else. So it seems that from some people, the discrimination was coming because of the poverty level, and they try solution for the poverty. Then basically they started to discriminate on others that are not born in one land or another, But when the abundance is presented, so this overpass their thinking, and this basically is coming as high as possible, and the people accept that could be maybe another way. Then we can unite and live in peace with each other. And one general thing that I saw almost 100% that the people agree on, when I'm saying they are the politicians that they come on war and everything, and they filter the information because the system it is on the pyramid. The people like me and you that we never knew each other, or we just seen like that and we started to speak, we do not fight each other. If there is abundance, we do not fight each other. So this is almost 100% agreement. So we are there. So basically GPMS, it's on the, how can I say, it is probably a barrier somewhere, because exactly as Rick said, when the people open the website or something like, probably because of the actual system, something it's coming on their mind that the reading is not able to pass. But on the discussion, when the discussion is able to direct them to start to see things, they are able to overpass the obstacle, and basically they move forward toward peace and abundance. And this is general agreement. So I do not know why we cannot see yet consent enough, because GPMS basically it's already agree on the heart of the people, but they still do not express that, so we need to direct them still. But this will come. I will see what will happen this springtime and summertime. Will be a new experience, and sharing cards and meet the people on the north, what is called north here, and we'll find if we are able finally to gather and move forward on the correct direction. Because with the right of the self-sustenance, so right now we have a credit collapse, and everything was based on credit, mortgages, blah, blah, blah. And right now, how the banks put the hand on the houses, but the banks, it's an institution, okay? How they put it right now, it's because by the insurance. So the insurance is not moving forward with a new contract. Then inside of the mortgage, there it's a clause inside. If you have no mortgage, if it is not covered by insurance, then you cannot continue with the mortgage. And basically the bank it's allowing on 30 days to sell the houses. So this is extremely sick. It's we have the right of the sustenance, even that it is a credit collapse. Let the credit to collapse, but don't let your life to collapse. So come up with the true definition of the sovereignty, and start to speak about universal laws do no harm. Start to realize that the government needs this to recognize the right of the sustenance, that cannot remove you from your own house and having food and everything as it is.
Importantly, lawfully, no bank can take a house as well. And with banks, they create money as well. They create money because the individuals exist. So the banks are the same as governments. They create money out of thin air. But because they create money out of thin air, they cannot burden any others, because this is a misuse of power, if you will, and an obstruction of justice and much more. So what this also means with divine GPMS, we create money out of thin air as well. And we have that full ability, although we haven't used it yet because of what Father is saying. But what I need to say is that any of these banks can be bought out instantly, because the unlimited wealth of what GPMS is. So what this and also the power of GPMS, but that's also why I need to be the guardian of it. Right at this very moment, and not in theory, in reality, we could buy the entire US. So ones need to understand exactly what this is and the power of it. We could buy every bank worldwide right at this moment and wipe out worldwide debt. So these inflictions by banks upon humanity are also unlawful. And when you look again at any bank, it is a public institution that it would not exist if the people's money did not go into it. With all of these banks, you'll see that they're traded online, which means, or traded in the markets, which means the people are shareholders of these banks as well, all people. So when they, because of their birth certificate and because money that was made by these people was used in supporting these banks to give them a principal of about 10%, when the banks then, when they had that principal, they created 90% of fiat money out of thin air. But the thing is, the principal or the bank would not exist if the people did not exist first. So again, what GPMS is restores the full power back to the people to eradicate all of these foolish things like banks and governments that inflict harm upon humanity. I don't, I could go detail it exactly right out, but again, at this point, a lot of people don't even understand how they were robbed of their power. And, with every one of you sitting here and every one in GPMS, you are the richest that was ever known on earth because you have the unlimited ability to create money. Just because we're not doing it yet, it doesn't mean that that it exists and that it will be here in the near future. And again, so it is hilarious how they try to inflict and burden people and take their houses and all of this, when in reality these ones trying to take the houses would not exist if not for the people. So it's the people that has the actual law and can just say no. So, uh, yeah, yeah. But, it's simpler for us instead of to rebut everything in the system, because everything in the beast system, the capitalistic system, is designed to diminish and deprive ones and to deprive them even of common decency and life as we're seeing. So, we don't need to rebut everything they're doing. It's a waste of time and it's nonsense because they're never going to change what they were doing, because their whole system is designed to claw back to feed the ones at the top of the system. So it becomes nonsense and ridiculous to counter and rebut all of the laws that they break, because they know they're doing it and they're doing it intentionally. So the common sense solution is GPMS that gives everyone everything instantly. And it doesn't matter with what money they have taken from ones, because money is going to become obsolete because it's fully abundant. So it doesn't matter how much money an elite has. With all of you and everyone with GPMS, you have unlimited money. So their money becomes useless only to themselves. They cannot buy anyone with it because value and wealth is equally shared. Who would want to buy someone? They can't. It just cannot occur. This is the thing. This is why the beast system collapses, because it has no power to buy souls into trafficking children, into creating wars, into criminals, into murderers, because the money is the monetary incentive that the beast system uses to control ones. So GPMS has broke that old control. And this is why you see the darkness becoming more and more desperate. But the real law is, as I said, with BlackRock, BlackRock doesn't own anything. It's all of the people that actually own it. BlackRock would not exist if not for the people being the original shareholders with the IPO. And this is public investment. And when you have public investment in any corporation or institution worldwide, it means the public is a bona fide shareholder in it. And when you have your glorious birth certificate, that is your shareholder, bona fide shareholder status of everything in that country that you're in, but also worldwide because your country engages in worldwide trade. So it's your shareholder certificate for all of public infrastructure ever made worldwide. And this is law. This is true law. And this is the reality. And we just need ones to understand, or we don't even need them to understand. We just need them to say, hey, do you want this free, lawful, abundant, peaceful, joyous life? If you do, just choose it. Take 3 minutes and consent for you and your children as well. The longer, and especially America, the longer that America hesitates and the people doesn't come with divine GPMS, they're having more and more blood on their hands as the government that they have voted in and that represents them is murdering innocent children and women and civilians. So the more that this goes on, it's the people that the onus is upon, because the people selected Trump, that administration that is creating the harm. So it began with the people. So the people need to stand and stop this now in Israel, in Iran, in US, worldwide. It's the people that chose these governments. They allow the governments to exist. So when the majority of the people say no, no more, this worldwide harm, these people is where all law comes from. And it comes from the majority together to say that this is not acceptable, what all these governments are doing, in what the government's actions and even non-actions, where no other governments are stepping in, where they're well provisioned in law to stop this. Let's say Trump can be just arrested immediately because all the law provisions this, as well as Netanyahu and whoever is in Iran. But the thing is, with Iran, it's a different situation because Iran is in a self-defense. They have to protect themselves through a retaliation. So the lawful consequences are a little bit different. However, with Israel and US, and with that initial strike, one of the initial strikes that targeted the innocent women and children and civilians, that is a murderous crime. It is a crime of genocide, because not only are you killing those, you are killing the ability of reproduction to carry on the Iranian people. So it's a very serious, sick, murderous thing that has been done. But the longer the people of America allow this to continue, they become accomplices to this crime, because they have the power also to stop it immediately by uniting and removing that entire government structure from existence. And the military has to obey the people. If the military doesn't, then they are in lawful jeopardy, all of them as well, because these crimes, what is occurring is innocent women and children being targeted and killed. This is murder. You don't allow criminals to be in a place of power. It's insane. It's contradictory to the laws of the countries. That's why it means their laws are all null and void. And when any of that ever occurs, the full absolute law and power goes to the people themselves because they have to make the choice. It's them that elect it and recognize any form of government. So the people has to make the choice and say, no, these governments and these leaders are wrong, and we have to arrest them or take them out of there now because what they're doing is not right. They're murdering. This is very serious crimes. So to keep it as simple as possible, what's occurring? And again, with the UN, what it is, it's not as strong as what we are, yet it is recognized as being a power to also end this war. We just gave the entire United Nations the instrument to end this, and that is Divine-gpms.world. So the entire world has the full solution to stop everything immediately. So we've given them the order, but also we gave them the full remedy, the full solution. So if they ignore the order with the full solution, it incriminates all of these government bodies worldwide. And then again, every government worldwide, every nation, it becomes the people's onus and their moral obligation to step up and remove these governments because they're causing harm. Even their non-action is causing harm when they can step in and do what is morally right. So harm works both ways. And this is also stated in the Bible in many places. And this is why we've also sent this divine order to the main churches worldwide, letting them know the solution is here. But not only that, with all of these religious and divine leaders worldwide, they know what is written in the moral script. And it's obvious in the Bibles. You are to do what is righteous and you are to protect the women and the children. You cannot remain silent. You have to stand in solidarity with the people to get rid of this beast system that is killing innocent women and children. It is written many times in the Bible. And what Father says, if you harm one little child, you might as well put a millstone around your neck and jump in the ocean or be thrown in the ocean. That's how serious this is. And all religion worldwide cannot escape this. Even in Islam, it's provisioned in the Islamic faith to protect the innocent women and children. This is a direct order from Father. It's written. All Christians worldwide should know this if they don't already, but the religious leaders do know it, that they have to make a stand. Also, the worldwide press, the media, we inform to get this out to the people. I don't see it coming out yet. What this does, it incriminates all of the media worldwide. Not only that, the social media platforms that have been censoring GPMS, they all become criminals. But the beauty of it, what you see, is the groups of people that are coming together. And I believe it might have been Facebook or Google not so long ago, as an example. People come in to begin to attack these social media headquarters because what these people are doing is criminal. So if people begin to attack the headquarters, it's for good reason. The people that are attacking it are not criminals. They are trying to preserve human dignity at the truth getting out worldwide. When you have these social media censoring a truth, it shows that they are part of the corruption. They might think in this moment they're all safe, but they're not. There is justice that is being divinely served, and it's being served on an individual level. And what you are going to see with military that does not step down and leave their job, they are going to become very sick that they'll not even be able to work, because this is the wrath of God that is being dished out upon all of them. These things are not acceptable. And it cannot continue. How long it continues, I cannot tell you. But one thing I can say is all of the people worldwide need to make the choice now and ratify Divine-gpms.world so we can begin to distribute the money and the freedom that eliminates all reasons for anyone to fight, and especially to murder innocent women and children. So the people are morally obligated worldwide, especially the Christians. Where are they? I had anticipated they'd be here in flock. Is there true Christians? You are told in the Bible you must not remain silent in times like this. You must step up to protect the women and children. Or are you impostors of children of God? I will give you the blatant truth.
We
You
have
must
some
stand
questions.
up and stand with us, all Christians worldwide.
We have some question and also comments on Facebook. Tristan Jane, my question as a light worker is this: do I shoot out what is happening in the world to hold my light and spread it, or do I subject myself to it objectively and do my best to move through it holding my light?
If I understand what she asked, it's important for every light worker to be spreading the solution, divine GPMS, giving it to everyone that is able to accept it and feel it. Because by doing this, we are also creating a huge light quotient of transformation, which causes the ascension into the fifth dimensional state. This is a planetary ascension to also civilize humanity. So everyone is called. There has been the divine clarion call gone out to that effect. Not all obeyed it, some ignored it, but what they'll find, the longer they ignore it, the more negative circumstance they will incur. What will happen with them? Because this is a divine order, there is no choice to refuse it. Is important. So what I suggest is, instead of focusing on the problems like I have here tonight, believe me, in my heart, I didn't wish to bring up these topics, but it has to be said to the ones that are still controlled by this so that they know that it's wrong. So we need every light worker out there sharing this solution. This is the divine plan. It is here. It's what everyone is ascending for. It's what all of the light workers are here for. This is it, to create it. You're not here for no reason. You have a reason and you have a mission. And the quicker the light workers come together and play that role, the quicker we get this done, the quicker we get the ascension over, to keep it simple, if that answers it.
Yes, she has also another comment and question. How does one leave the United States military without being considered a war and in prison? So basically,
What was
to
this?
avoid the jail time when they want to leave the United States military. I had no idea that it's so said there. So
Well,
basically,
some of the news, the I was given the liberty, I didn't get it fully, but there are instructions by others now going to the military to leave. So, having said this, whatever occurs, if you choose to leave, do so honestly to the best of your ability, but also know that anything is only temporary. What you should be seeing here is the people will also support what you're doing if you're in the military. So just, I may need to soon go. I had ordered some vegetarian pizza, but I think it might be here. Did that answer that question?
yes, yes. And also people want to get rid of the unelected government, but they don't know how. People are thrown into prison if they speak out in the United Kingdom. So to get rid of something that it is bad in this world, if you are already on the comments here on this video, you are already, you know about GPMS website, so just share this. This is the way. This is what I'm saying. Look up the Strawman as your board name in corporate ID, so you can change your name through the affidavit declaration. So buy a book giving you advice on this. So it's even not necessary. GPMS can be bring to the point to be to become viral. Then in weeks after that, we have GPMS in place. GPMS does not recognize the actual birth certificate, know everything about. You do not need to pass through everything right now in order to fight with your government. And basically after that, the government will do not allow you to have, for example, if you need a hospital or something, like, you are basically put outside of the system, even that you are able to go there. So the right way it is to go via GPMS. We are making GPMS to happen, and as soon as possible, then we do not need to fight with the government today or to do any other kind of documents inside. The employment contract, it's only with the corporate name, not a living being. Yes, it's true. So the corporation has no jurisdiction inside of divine law. I'm sorry, Rick, I'm answering alone. I'm sorry, but just if you wish to answer.
You answer, please. I have to walk down the road. I got a pizza there that is
Okay,
I
yes.
ordered. So you answer these, and anyone that has any questions, especially this military one, it's so important. So I asked for that one to send me a private message with their questions, because I believe this week there's going to be more complete instructions written up for what they can do, and also lawful papers, perhaps. So it's important, any that has questions, to send me on private message on Facebook. Thank you.
Yes, so another question. No, this is a comment. Although I've tried to go to the website through Chrome, and Brave, they block me, and I have the link on my Facebook page for me and my group, but not people I know of Facebook. So if you are blocked, look on things that you have set up, protection for your computer and everything, and just disconnect them for a while. Then you will go on the website, and after that put the protection back. Yeah, so should be access depending also on what country you are, but consider it a country. We'll consider it a location, not country. Somebody said try Wandex. You can go also via Chrome or other. So President Trump has told banks to be gold backed, and a lot of them are not. They only have cash on bonds, as my bank has. So this must be why they are stealing people property and brutally dragging people out of their homes in the UK with hungry creature type humans with guns, whether you are paying a mortgage or paid off or having inherited the property. The police are complicit, and now the council are doing the same thing, which is happening to me right now. So GPMS is all about intrinsic value, has nothing to do. So gold, silver are not are extrinsic value. This is the reason that we are poor and we have all the situation in place, because the life is not recognized. The life, it is recognized when the intrinsic value of the people is recognized. So basically what the President Trump is doing right now on back with gold or let no gold back, it does not matter. Both of the situation, it's about an extrinsic value and not the intrinsic value. So both of them are bad. And no, it's not, this is the reason that the people are brutally dragging out from their homes. It is because our rights are not recognized and not respected. So please start to share GPMS and come and speak with us. Then we need a representative and also people to share the website of GPMS and bring more consents. Then we are able to start. Somebody said there are rumbling of civil war in the UK. Yeah, so this is happening also in Canada for years. Also in the United States, all the civil war are basically getting against the police or government in general or something like that. We do not need to fight with the government. We just need to take the path towards GPMS to implement universal laws do no harm. Because everything, when you go towards a civil war, even after the civil war, okay, so supposedly you remove the one that you believe it's a bad one, but you still remain in place with a system that it is based on pyramid with artificial law. So this is not the solution. You are just like in a circle inside of the same game. Mylan Khanna said, are you on Peace Officer Telegram? It's asking the other one, Peace Officer on Telegram. Okay, so we know that the police has the freedom movement. Unfortunately, in Canada, they are still upholding the Charter of Rights and Freedom, but anytime they may come and support universal laws, this will be so great. Peace Officer UK Telegram. So this is about the freedom for sure. About the police, we have Canada, United States, UK, and also Africa. We have a lot. So This is an invitation for them to join GPMS and also to start to uphold the true human rights and freedom inside of the charter of GPMS, because other constitution in reality are not the ones that are keeping the rights for the people. Also other comment, put a 3-pass notice on the door too. Yeah, you can put that, but I do not know if may be respected. Chris is saying, Chris Ranger, if a soldier leaves the military, they are criminally charged. So this is in Romania. I had no idea about that. So if somebody leaves the military, so basically you can enter, you cannot leave. If you cannot leave because you are criminally charged, so if you cannot leave a place, so this is darkness enough. This will be great to for Rick George to see, but later this will be another discussion, a future discussion. We have the religions watchdog in internal military complaints. The description about 200 complaints. Military Religion Freedom Foundation. Okay. Yeah, so this is all for today. So it seems that it's coming from 2 sources, one in the United States and another one in Romania, that if someone wants to leave the military, they cannot because they will be criminally charged. So this will be a discussion on the next meeting. And please come and speak directly on the meeting. This will be great. This will be a great discussion. So Rick, it's coming from 2 places, one in the United States, one from Romania. Both recognize that the people involved in the military, they cannot leave the military, because if they leave the military, they are criminally charged. Yeah. So they need to uphold all the system and come against the people. So basically they cannot, even that they want to leave, they cannot do that. This is the only one discussion on the comments that I found, the last one.
Yeah, I got to catch my breath there for a moment. Yeah, with this situation, instead of me explaining it all out right now, what they need to look at is if the system is going to charge them, it really cannot. It doesn't have any jurisdiction, because if a system is attempting to keep someone in a job that is killing someone, it's criminal. So these laws are null and void. But the thing is, what needs to occur is the numbers of ones in the military. So it's important that the militaries be informed and that the good ones leave en masse is what I suggest. But what I will do is I was hurrying to get back, so a little bit out of breath and out of shape. But what I will do is write something up.
What I said also, because Chris is right now here, what I told to Chris on my audio messages sent to him, basically, we even do not need to invest money. So some may pay some money or something, but other even do not need that, because everyone that received the message of GPMS, they can share the message of the GPMS basically for free, because they have a cell phone via the messages through friends and family and everything. So this may work also for the military, I believe. So because they have family, they have friends, they can share the message of GPMS with
Well,
friends and
yeah,
family. And basically the friends and the family can become official representative GPMS until they liberate from the military.
also, yes, when you join GPMS, you have your decree, which is a lawful proclamation of your own sovereignty as well. So during that, what you're actually doing is renouncing a citizenship of any government that is in conflict with that. So this is another important part of the procedure. But also, it is provisioned. If you're military, one of the things you can do is take sick leave. And you're being honest with this because your conscience will not allow you to support anything criminal. It's sickening. So you can honestly begin to take sick leave, PTSD, or it's not really, it could be that, but there are options that you begin to do to step down. For example, in Canada, with many of the past RCMP officers, because of the government uh, trying to force them to do illegal and criminal things harming humanity, they would take PDS leave or whatever. See, because they still needed to provide for their families. They still needed the money. So they did what they could lawfully do inside of the system enough so that they were not supporting it. So when you begin to take the steps as a military or police officer to get out of the system, then what you are doing, you are oriented towards the outside. So you might need to stay in there doing some things temporarily, but your intent is aligned with leaving. So it don't have any fear if you're unable to step out of that job right away, as long as your intent and your alignment and your provisioning to do that has begun. But it's also, see, you cannot lawfully support anything that is harming women and children. So that in itself is a lawful statement when it is put to the military. They need to realize the military is not the governing body that you are as well. Now, the military may not accept this because they're the heads of the military, because they are as Chris would say, the MIC, the military industrial complex that is, it's part of the B system, but it's much more. So it does not, it tries to control ones to use them as puppets. So it controls ones to be the murderers for them, if you will. That's why you have generals and presidents or what have you that don't engage in the war, that they are the ones giving the puppets orders to do it for them. But I won't go deeper into this right now, but just do whatever you are able to do honestly, but also it's very important where you believe in God. And if you don't yet, it's a great idea to begin to believe, because what you're going to find then, the more aligned with God, you are going to see perhaps miraculous things. And I'll just go far out on a limb, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it cannot happen, that you could just walk away from a military job and they won't even come after you. Because when you trust in God, there are different things that occur and you are supported. But this is with the individual. The more trust you have in God, the more protected you are from the system. But once you begin to make that alignment with God and what is right, God's got your back, if you will. So if anything occurs negatively, it should only be temporarily, and it'll be to also expose a further truth to the public. So stand in your power and your trust in God. And if your heart and your conscience is at a place that you can't do it, you need to speak that truth out. Put the papers out there. No, you cannot do it. You do not consent with it. And you do not recognize a law that is forcing you to kill innocent and children, women and children. That is not law at all. So it cannot be an authority over you, forcing you to kill someone. That is criminal. So they have no justification within their militaries if they attempt to do this. But again, I'll keep this short. We're pretty near done, I believe, for this week.
Yes, so basically just for other people, because here in Canada, the PTS could be understood, but from other country, not. This is the post-traumatic stress that, yeah, so the people from the federal police, they develop, and also military. So Chris is saying, hi, I just clarifying that they cannot live legally during military operations. So basically when they are in the operation, they will be considered deserters. So
But
they will
if
be
a
not-
military operation is harming others and operating illegally, there is no law that the military can use.
yeah, but
This is the
as I
thing.
said, yeah, only one cannot oppose. They need to go en masse, so they need to gather because only one.
Would be the better thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, because
But
only
I'm kind of
one.
rushed. This is such an important topic that come up, but it come up just at the end, and I've got War and Pizza in there and
Yeah.
things ordered.
So anyway, we cannot, so basically the meeting should be around 1 hour and a half, maximum 2 hours, so we are above. So we will keep this subject for the next meeting, and Chris can come if he will have time. And we'll see also if we will be looking also on the option, but basically the people needs to come together against the corporation. So in coming against the corporation, it's the correct way, it is GPMS. So basically start to consent with GPMS on mass and share GPMS. GPMS can be shared for free. So just sending messages to your friends, family, and people around you, when colleagues to the jobs or neighbors. Yeah. Okay, so if we can develop the subject also to the next meeting, and we want to also for all the guardians and representative of GPMS to start to gather together here in time when the meeting start. Then the subject will be developed and the question will be answered how much we can. Thank you so much for everyone that participated today on the meeting and will share this meeting. And what can I say? See you later, as soon as next week. Or if GPMS become viable,
And
we'll come with a meeting during the week.
Excellent. So with that, love, light, and gratitude, everyone. And the worldwide governments were supposed to inform their military with this divine order. So for once thinking it might be like in the old to get out of military, it may not be. You may be surprised as well, because if you have any that's militaries or governments that are acting behind the scenes already in accordance with this divine order, you may find you might be able to get out very easy because this is a divine order coming from the most powerful universal nation worldwide. And they all have to obey this because it's a divine order. So you may find your circumstance much easier as well with any that are beginning to comply with the order. But with that, love, light, and gratitude, everyone. And we'll speak about this next week as well. And through the week, there may be some things coming up. So I'll stop the Facebook one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that,